Day 85, the 22nd of August. Good morning, Lunenburg. Good morning, Mr. Sea Fog. We had an early start today because there is so much to see and do. After breakfast, we walked up the road to the opposite side of the wharves in order to capture the red sheds and boats on film. Oops, we cannot see the other side of the harbour through the fog. Back to the motel to pack the car. The Fisheries Museum of the Atlantic will be open soon. We will do the indoor places of interest until the fog lifts. Wow, so much history to try and retain. But what really stands out are the amount of fishing boats that sank with all the crew on board, especially around Sable Island and the Grand Banks. I'm surprised anyone actually chose to fish for a living with the great loss of life attached to that occupation. Of course, there was the rum runners of the 1920s and 1930s during the Prohibition. It was reported that half of the Lunenburg fishing fleet were engaged in the rum trade. They could make more money in 1 week than they could a year of fishing.
On the Lunenburg dock on a Saturday.
The British founded Halifax in 1749, and wanting to expand, in 1753 they recruited people from Germany, so we have Lunenburg, the only German settlement in Nova Scotia.
King Street, Lunenburg.
Fog shifting slightly, so we walk the streets. Yes, lots more house photos. I could have taken a zillion more. There are 48 blocks in Lunenburg that are classified as National Historic District. The different architecture and the vibrant colours. I could have stayed here for a week. There was so much to see. Today there was dory racing on the harbour too. The story behind that is, in a bar in 1951, 2 men were debating which fishing town had the best dory rowers. Long story short, the only way to settle the matter was to challenge each other to a race, and 65 years later, the dory racing continues. The schooner Bluenose, hailed the Queen of the North Atlantic, is an icon here and for all of Canada. She has been on the Canadian 10-cent coin for nearly 80 years. She was built here in 1921 and was not only a fishing boat but also a racing boat. She won 5 international sailing races and was undefeated for 17 years. She was then sold offshore and was sunk on a reef in Tahiti. Not intentionally, of course. So Bluenose too is chartering out of Lunenburg now. Bluenose is the nickname for people who live in Lunenburg. Then a quick trip out to Blue Rocks to capture the rocky inlets.
It's quite quaint. Someone's got his fishing shed or his boat shed on his own tiniest of little islands.
Well, perhaps not such a quick trip. Coast and rocks and boats, and yes, we squeeze in one more lighthouse. We really enjoyed Lunenburg, and the fog was all part of the adventure. Then it was past time to head to Halifax. We have to reinvent our packing tonight for the flight to Toronto in the morning. Catch you all over in mainland Canada.